The Australopithecines. Scientists estimate that there were between 9 and 11 Australopithecine species, ranging from Australopithecus anamensis, which lived around 4.2 million years ago, to Australopithecus africanus. The genus includes, of course, the famous Lucy, Australopithecus afarensis, 3.2 million years ago, discovered by Don Johansen in Ethiopia. Australopithecus sediba is the youngest known surviving member of the Australopithecine lineage. The Smithsonian lists Australopithecus sediba as young as 1.8 million years ago. Sediba basics, quick facts, and key insights. The known spatial range for Australopithecus sediba is present-day South Africa. Note, Africanus is also South Africa. Afarensis, of course, is East Africa. Australopithecus sediba had a mix of primitive and modern features. Long arms like earlier Australopithecines, but a more human-like pelvis and teeth. Vintage News, quote, "Our findings challenge a traditional linear view of evolution. It was once thought that a fossil species a million years younger than Lucy would surely look more human-like," end quote, explained Jeremy De Silva, an associate professor of anthropology at Dartmouth. Humanorigins.si.edu. The narrow upper chest resemble earlier Australopithecus, while other tooth traits and the broad lower chest resemble humans. Sediba walked upright but with a unique gait, turning its foot inward with weight focused on the outer edge. Humanorigins.si.edu. The cranium of Australopithecus sediba had a mix of primitive and derived features, including a relatively small brain size, facial characteristics resembling early Homo, and small premolars and molars. The discovery. Lee Berger has told the story of the Australopithecus sediba discovery countless times over the years in lectures and in print. He used satellite imagery that National Geographic purchased for him from NASA to track down cave sites across South Africa. Berger embarked on a solitary expedition to approximately 60 cave locations, meticulously assessing them to identify those most likely to yield hominid fossils. A specific location named Malapa, situated to the north of Johannesburg, appeared to hold great potential, having been quarried 2 decades prior by workers searching for quartz. Lee Berger, his 8-year-old son Matthew, and a lab assistant set out for Malapa, accompanied by their faithful Berger Picard, Tau. After arriving at the site, Tau darted off in one direction. Matthew followed closely behind. 10 minutes later, he spotted a rock of breccia. Something about it caught his attention. Excited, he called out for his dad, not yet realizing the significance of what he had found. Lee Berger spotted a hominid clavicle embedded in the rock, along with a few teeth. In that moment, he knew he had stumbled upon something extraordinary. The quarry workers in the 1920s had blasted the cave. Breccia, including chunks loaded with precious fossils, had spread hundreds of feet away from the entrance. FactsAndDetails.com. The fossils of Australopithecus sediba were accidentally discovered by Matthew Berger, Lee Berger's 9-year-old son, in 2008 in the Malapa Nature Reserve, in the fossil-rich cave region of Malapa, 40 kilometers northwest of Johannesburg. Continuing, scientists later excavated an almost complete skull, together with shoulder bones, a hand, wrist bones, and ankle bones. Studying Sediba. 5 different papers on Australopithecus sediba were released in 2011. In addition to Berger, the authors included a number of superstar names in paleoanthropology like Andy Herring, Robin Pickering, and Stephen Churchill. Paper Science Daily. New evidence suggests that Australopithecus sediba is the best candidate for genus Homo. This study reports new findings from the Malapa site, where Australopithecus sediba fossils have been dated to 1.977 million years ago using uranium lead dating. Continuing, this date positions Australopithecus sediba as older than the earliest known representatives of the genus Homo. Continuing, this suggests potential ancestral connections. The research emphasizes an adaptive evolution toward Homo characteristics across Australopithecus sediba, Homo habilis, and Homo rudolfensis. Announcing the missing link. The press conference announcing the new findings took place on September 8, 2011. Researchers revealed the details of their studies, suggesting Australopithecus sediba could be a strong candidate for an ancestor to the Homo genus. Quote, I didn't really understand the significance of it because I was only 9 years old. I remember walking into the press conference room and there being 100 different camera crews and journalists, end quote. Matthew Berger. In 2011, CBS News 60 Minutes did an entire 20-minute segment on the discovery featuring Matthew Berger. Following Berger's press conference, media headlines overwhelmingly focused on the missing link, shaping public perception of the discovery. Vintage News 2011. After 10 years of careful study, a new report has announced that the 2 skeletons are of the same hominid species, and that species is likely to be the proverbial missing link, the transitional species that became the first humans. The Atlantic, September 2011. Is the Australopithecus sediba our ancestor? New research in the journal Science suggests so, as high-resolution scans and uranium dating tests reveal that this hominid exhibited human-like traits and existed around the same time as early Homo species. Continuing, quote, the many advanced features found in the brain and body, along with the earlier date, make it possibly the best candidate ancestor for our genus, end quote, says Lee Berger, the project leader from the University of Witwatersrand in Johannesburg, South Africa. The New Yorker, 2016. He later told Science, quote, we're not saying this is the direct ancestor, but if you start weighing this whole, it will end up as the probable ancestor, end quote. History News Network 2011. Until this discovery, fossils of the Homo habilis and Homo rudolfensis, dating to 1.9 million years ago, have been considered ancestral to Homo erectus, the earliest undisputed human ancestor. Of note, academic paleoanthropologists distance themselves from the term missing link, considering it an outdated concept. Instead, they prefer terms like transitional fossil or mosaic evolution. Major announcement by year's end. John Hawks is an evolutionary science professor at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. He is also a longtime friend and colleague of Lee Berger. Together, they have worked on Homo naledi at Rising Star and with Australopithecus sediba at Malapa. On April 17, 2025, Professor Hawks gave a lecture at Beloit College in Wisconsin. he used the opportunity to make a major announcement. By the end of 2025, they will have a nearly complete skeleton of Australopithecus sediba, MH1. Hawks in his speech, quote, "We have today more than 20 preparators working on fossils, and Zandili has been working for the last 3 years on fossils in that block, extracting them one by one. They represent the rest of the skeleton of MH1, end quote. Quote, "This is at the end of this process. It is going to be the most complete skeleton that has ever been described of any fossil hominid." Continuing, quote, "So, the preparation of the skeleton is nearly complete. We will be publishing the results from this within the next year," end quote. In comparison, the famous Lucy, Australopithecus afarensis, is just shy of a 40% complete skeleton. Sediba, bringing clarity to the muddle in the middle. Where does Australopithecus genus end and the genus Homo begin? It's the puzzle paleoanthropologists have been trying to solve ever since Raymond Dart discovered the first Australopith in 1926. Muddle in the middle refers to the ongoing debate in paleoanthropology about the unclear boundary between Australopithecus and Homo. Professor Bill Kimball of ASU, longtime friend and colleague of Don Johanson, first coined the phrase muddle in the middle. Kimball was the co-discoverer of the 2.8 million year old Homo habilis mandible at Lady Gararo. The challenge for scientists is determining how Homo habilis could be ancestral to later members of the genus Homo when fossils attributed to early Homo date back to 2.8 million years ago, while Australopithecus sediba, with its mix of primitive and advanced traits, is dated to 1.8 million years ago. With sediba's full skeleton now uncovered, scientists may finally be able to determine whether it is the long-sought transitional species between Australopithecines and Homo, or if it is, in fact, Homo itself. Australopithecus sediba's legacy, redefining African origins. Did Australopithecus sediba contribute to the rich genetic tapestry of modern extant Africans? As we now know from the geneticists, Africans have up to 19% archaic hominid DNA admixture. Australopithecus sediba may have had a lingering presence, one that left echoes in modern extant African populations. As we have chronicled on this channel, many modern Africans have striking and even archaic facial morphology. As more fossils are uncovered at Malapa and nearby sites, and as the skeleton is unveiled, it could reveal more modern features. The boundaries between ancient and modern species might not be as distinct as we've long assumed. Thank you for watching. We'll see you soon.